Hi, welcome to SBRForum videos. I'm Natalie Rydström. The 2013 French Open at Roland Garros is just 3 weeks away. Easily one of the most prestigious Grand Slams, the event is also the most competitive in the WTA, with many opportunities to win money betting on players, even without the surname of Williams. Now here with us today to discuss an early preview of the French Open and to discuss which futures may have value is SBRForum contributor and sports writer Nila Amerova. Nila, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, it's no big secret that Serena Williams would prefer to be blasting away a serve on hard court, but the world's #1 is still expected to win her first French Open since 2002. She is priced at plus 275 by Pinnacle Sports to get it done. Now, is this a bet worth locking in right now?
Where Serena Williams is concerned, you could never say she's not worth locking in. So on one hand, I would say yes, it is a bet worth locking in. On the other hand, I would say maybe not so much, considering the rest of the field, because where the French Open is concerned, Serena Williams has not had a lot of success since 2002, and in the last couple of years, also where the French Open is concerned, there's been every year a different winner.
Okay, now defending champion Maria Sharapova is now ranked second best in the world and is also the second lowest priced player to win at around 3.5 to 1. What do you make of her chances?
Sharapova's chances are, I would say, 50-50. She did win it last year and she was a surprise winner. Nobody tipped her to win it last year, only because she's never really been a great mover. She even once compared herself, her movement, to that of a cow on clay. Those were her words. So when it comes to the French Open, I think she's definitely, or clay in general, I think she's definitely beatable because her disadvantage is her movement. She has the power definitely to blow anybody off the court, but when it comes to movement, that's her weakness. And clay, in order to win on clay, you have to be one of the best movers to win.
Right, okay. Now, Victoria Azarenka has slid to world #3 and has never advanced past the quarterfinals at Roland Garros. She is just 4 to 1 to win. Do you see her breaking her slump this year, or at least advancing to the finals this time?
With Azarenka, you can never discount her from the discussion, only because she's, out of everybody in the women's game, she's been the most consistent player over the last 2 years. And that's something that's been actually missing in the women's game. But where her chances are in terms of this particular French Open, I'm not so sure, because she hasn't played since Indian Wells, since her withdrawal against Caroline Wozniacki in the quarterfinal. So this is almost going on 2 months of no action, no competitive action. So I don't rate her chances too high.
Okay, now the 2011 champion Li Na is still getting respect with the price of 7 to 1. What do you make of her form heading into the French Open?
Li Na is, I mean, she's a crowd favorite. She's a popular player, and she seems to save her best tennis for the big events, the Grand Slams. I mean, she reached back-to-back Australian Open finals. She won the French Open. So when it comes to sort of the big arena, she really can deliver. So I definitely would rate her chances quite good. Of course, everything depends on the draw, and that goes with everybody that we talked about just now.
Now, looking at the rest of the board, the odds really are starting to look bigger. A name that jumps out to me is Aggie Radwanska at 20 to 1. Now, she had difficulty with Serena's power, or any big hitter really, but how much does playing on clay neutralize the advantage big servers have on hard court?
Playing on clay definitely, I would say, levels the playing field, because the ball just doesn't get the same kind of pop that it would off of a hard court. Clay's the slowest surface, so it slows down the game. And for somebody like Radwanska, who's an excellent mover, the surface itself, the surface alone, gives her a definite advantage over some of the big hitters, especially players like Kvitova and Sharapova, for example, who are big hitters but really terrible movers. Serena Williams is quite good at moving. Her movement is good. It's not the strongest part of her game. Definitely her power is the biggest part of her game. But when you look at Radwanska and the account she deposited against Serena Williams at Wimbledon, she took her to 3 sets. So even on a faster surface, Radwanska can hold her own against the big servers. So when you look at the French Open and the market on the French Open, Radwanska is definitely one of the sort of the underdogs of the tournament that can have a breakout tournament.
Okay, and are there any other underdogs with value that you see making a deep run this year?
There are some other underdogs. I mean, the one, it's a hit and miss with Caroline Wozniacki, for example, who's tipped at plus 3,300 at William Hill. She's a great mover. She reminds me of Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, who's won 3 French Opens. The style of game that she has, because she's a counterpuncher. She's a counterpuncher through and through. She's never going to blow a player off the court, but she's always going to be able to return most of the balls. And the surface suits her game. And if there's ever going to be a Grand Slam that Caroline Wozniacki is ever going to win, and she was a former world #1, the French Open is probably her best bet. There's other players, obviously, that you can't forget about. Samantha Stosur, who won the French Open as well, too, and Francesca Schiavone, who won the French Open and just recently, and was a finalist there as well too, and then just recently won the tournament in Marrakesh. So even though that Francesca Schiavone is in her 30s, and some people might discount her from the proceedings, she's still a very tough competitor. And on clay, she's one of the people that I would watch.
That's right. Nila, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again just before the French Open kicks off.
Thank you so much for having me.